Have you ever felt like your self-respect was being tested? Someone interrupts you while you're speaking, makes insensitive remarks, or simply dismisses your feelings. At this stage in life, we've learned to let a lot of things go, but there are moments when disrespect makes us stop and ask ourselves, do I really have to put up with this? Stoic philosophy teaches us, we cannot control the actions of others, but we can control how we respond to them. So, how can we stay true to our values without losing our peace of mind? Today, I'll share 5 Stoic strategies for handling people who don't respect you. This isn't about revenge or creating more conflict. It's about maintaining your composure and living as the best version of yourself. Epictetus wisely said, "What troubles you is not the event itself, but how you perceive it." If you've ever struggled to stay calm or to set boundaries with others, this video is for you. And when you stay with me until the end, I'll have a question for you, a powerful one that just might change how you see yourself. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and join our journey toward personal growth and resilience. Let's dive in. Number 1, the silent stare, the power of composure. In the vast wisdom of Stoic philosophy, one of the most transformative tools we learn is this: calmness can speak louder than words. When someone disrespects you, instead of reacting immediately, whether out of frustration, anger, or defensiveness, try this. Remain silent and meet their gaze with steady, composed eyes. Why is this so effective? Because most people who are disrespectful are looking for a reaction. They want to provoke you, to see you lose your cool, or to make you feel off balance. They thrive on the energy of conflict. But when you simply hold their gaze in silence, you deny them that satisfaction. In doing so, you send a powerful, unspoken message. Your behavior does not dictate my emotions. I am in control of myself, and you cannot shake me. Why the silent stare works. The silent stare is disarming. It forces the other person to confront their behavior without giving them an easy outlet for their negativity. People often act disrespectfully without expecting to be held accountable. They're used to being ignored, argued with, or placated. But when you meet them with composed silence, it's like holding up a mirror to their actions. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." This principle reminds us that by reacting impulsively, we often lower ourselves to the level of the person disrespecting us. By contrast, remaining calm and composed shows that you refuse to engage in negativity or let it define your response. Imagine this. You're in a meeting and a colleague repeatedly interrupts you. Frustration starts to bubble up, but instead of snapping back or retreating into silence, you look at them steadily. You don't need to glare or frown, just a neutral, composed stare. Without saying a word, you communicate, "I see what you're doing, and I will not participate in it." More often than not, the other person will start to falter. They may stumble over their words, grow uncomfortable, or even shift their behavior. Why? Because your silence disrupts their expectation of control. The silent stare isn't just about controlling the other person's behavior, it's also a declaration of your own self-respect. When you choose not to react impulsively, you remind yourself that your dignity is not up for debate. You demonstrate that you value your peace of mind over any fleeting satisfaction that comes from winning an argument. This approach aligns beautifully with Stoic teachings. Seneca advised, "It is not the man who has insulted me who causes me harm, but the opinion I have about the insult." Your response, or lack of one, is where your true power lies. Let's delve into why this works on a psychological level. People who disrespect others often rely on dominance, whether through words, tone, or actions. By meeting them with calm silence, you strip away the control they seek. In that moment, you take ownership of your emotional response. And, as you do, you strengthen your own self-worth. You affirm that your value doesn't hinge on the opinions or actions of others, but on your ability to remain grounded in who you are. The silent stare also cultivates patience, a key Stoic virtue. Instead of reacting out of impulse, you give yourself a moment to breathe, assess the situation, and respond intentionally. Practical steps to practice the silent stare. 1. Prepare your mindset. Before engaging, remind yourself that your goal isn't to win the interaction, but to maintain your inner peace. 2. Focus on composure. Keep your expression neutral and your body language relaxed. Avoid crossing your arms aggressively or furrowing your brow. 3rd, hold the stare for a few seconds. This doesn't need to be an extended standoff. A steady, calm gaze lasting 3 to 5 seconds is often enough to make your point. 4. Remain silent. Resist the urge to fill the silence with explanations or rebuttals. Let your silence do the work. Let me share a personal story. I once attended a community meeting where a particular individual loved to dominate the conversation. Whenever I spoke, they would interrupt or dismiss my points as unimportant. At first, I tried to reason with them, but it only seemed to fuel their behavior. Then I remembered the power of the silent stare. The next time they interrupted, I paused, leaned back slightly in my chair, and fixed my gaze on them. I didn't glare or roll my eyes, just a steady, calm look. At first, they kept talking, but within a few seconds, their words started to trail off. They glanced at me, then at the others in the room, and quickly fell silent. For the rest of the meeting, they didn't interrupt me again. The silent stare isn't about being passive or ignoring disrespect. It's about reclaiming control without escalating the situation. It's about showing, rather than telling, that you respect yourself too much to engage in pettiness. Ask yourself, the last time someone disrespected you, how did you respond? What might have happened if you had tried the silent stare instead? Challenge. The next time you face disrespect, take a deep breath and try this approach. Notice how it makes you feel. Calmer, more confident. And observe how it affects the other person. The silent stare is more than just a tactic. It's a mindset. It's a way of reminding yourself and others that your peace of mind is non-negotiable. And in a world that often feels chaotic, that's a power worth holding on to. Number 2. Silence is the most powerful response. Did you know that sometimes the most powerful answer is no answer at all? Stoic philosophy places immense value on the mastery of our words, or in this case, the conscious decision to withhold them. Choosing silence in the face of negativity not only shields you from unnecessary conflict, but also preserves your inner peace. We often feel compelled to respond when insulted or provoked. Why? Because our ego tells us we need to defend ourselves to set the record straight or to gain the upper hand. But Stoicism teaches that the true mark of strength lies not in retaliation, but in restraint. Epictetus famously said, "Not every statement requires a response. Remain silent and let their words pass like the wind." Why silence works? 1. It diffuses the situation. When someone is negative or disrespectful, their goal is often to provoke you into a reaction. By staying silent, you disrupt their narrative. Without fuel, the fire of their anger or disrespect dies out. 2. It protects your energy. Words carry weight. Engaging in arguments, especially with those intent on belittling you, drains your mental and emotional reserves. Silence acts as a shield, keeping their negativity from invading your peace of mind. 3. It holds them accountable. Your silence creates a space where they're left alone with their words. It forces them to confront the weight of what they've said without the distraction of your rebuttal. Silence is not weakness. Let's address a common misconception. Silence is not weakness. It's not about letting someone win or ignoring the situation. Instead, it's a deliberate choice to rise above the fray. Seneca wisely observed, "It is not the insult that harms you, but your interpretation of it." Silence is a declaration that you refuse to let another person dictate your emotions or control your actions. It's a reminder that your inner world is your sanctuary, and you decide who and what gets access to it. Think of silence as a fortress, strong, immovable, and unyielding. When you respond with silence, you're saying, "I see your actions, but they do not define me. I value my peace more than this argument." Let me share a story to illustrate this. Imagine being at a family gathering where someone, a relative with a penchant for criticism, decides to comment on your choices. Perhaps it's a snide remark about your career, your relationships, or even your appearance. In the past, you might have felt compelled to defend yourself, explaining your choices or countering their comments with your own. But this time, you take a different approach. You simply smile gently, take a sip of your tea and remain silent. You let their words hang in the air undisturbed by your reaction. What happens next? Most likely, their words lose power. Without your engagement, their criticism feels hollow, even embarrassing. In that silence, you assert your confidence without saying a word. Why does this work so well? Because silence shifts the dynamic of power. Most people expect a reaction when they say something provocative. They expect anger, justification, or defensiveness. But when you respond with silence, you deny them control over the interaction. Instead of reacting emotionally, you remain grounded, composed, and in control. This is the ultimate power move. Not over them, but over yourself. Marcus Aurelius reflected, "If you are pained by external things, it is not they that disturb you, but your judgment of them. And it is in your power to wipe out that judgment now." Silence allows you to step back and reassess your perspective. Is this insult worth your energy? Does this person's opinion truly matter? Most often, the answer is no. Practical tips for choosing silence. 1. Pause before speaking. When someone says something offensive, take a deep breath and count to 3 before deciding whether to respond. This moment of pause gives you the clarity to choose silence if it serves you better. 2. Focus on your body language. Silence doesn't mean passive withdrawal. Pair your silence with confident posture, a gentle smile, steady eye contact, or even a calm nod. This signals that your silence is intentional, not submissive. 3. Remember your goal. Remind yourself that silence is not about ignoring the situation, but about maintaining your peace and self-respect. Practice letting go. Not every insult deserves space in your mind. Visualize their words as leaves floating down a stream. Observe them briefly, then let them drift away. Lessons from Stoicism. The great Stoic masters remind us that our peace of mind is worth more than fleeting arguments. By choosing silence, we protect our most valuable asset, our inner tranquility. Seneca advised, "He who takes offense when it is not meant is a fool. He who takes offense when it is meant is still a fool." This isn't about being passive. It's about recognizing that some battles aren't worth fighting. Your silence becomes a statement of self-worth, a refusal to be pulled into the chaos of others. Challenge yourself. Next time someone speaks to you with disrespect or negativity, resist the urge to react immediately. Instead, take a breath, let their words settle, and choose silence. Notice how it feels to hold back a reaction. Do you feel lighter, stronger, more in control? Observe how the other person responds. Question for you: have you ever felt pressured to respond to an insult? What might happen if you chose silence instead? Remember, silence isn't just the absence of words, it's the presence of strength. It's a gift you give yourself, a space where your peace remains untouched. And in a world that often demands immediate reactions, choosing silence can be the boldest act of all. So number 3, no explanations, no apologies, living true to your values. Let's be honest, how many times have you felt the need to explain or justify your decisions? Maybe you turned down an invitation, chose a less conventional path, or made a decision that others didn't fully understand. And then the questions came. Why would you do that? Are you sure that's the right choice? Stoic philosophy teaches us that we owe no one an explanation for how we choose to live. Your decisions and your values are yours alone, and as long as they align with your sense of integrity, they do not require the approval of others. Seneca wisely observed, "When you live according to the principles of your own conscience, the judgment of the crowd is irrelevant." This lesson can be liberating but also deeply challenging. We live in a society that often demands justification for nonconformity. Yet, the truth is, the only validation your choices need is your own. The freedom of Because I wanted to. Imagine this scenario. You decline an invitation to an event. The person inviting you presses, asking why. In the past, you might have scrambled for a polite excuse, "I'm too busy," or "I'm not feeling well," hoping to avoid their judgment. But what if you simply responded, "Because I wanted to," and left it at that? This simple, direct response sends a powerful message. My choices are my own. I do not owe you an explanation. This doesn't mean being dismissive or rude. It's about asserting your autonomy and showing that you are confident enough in your decisions that you don't need external validation. There are many reasons we fall into the habit of over-explaining our choices. 1. Fear of judgment. We worry about how others will perceive us if our decisions deviate from their expectations. 2. Desire for approval. We seek validation, hoping that others will affirm that we're making the right choice. 3. Avoidance of conflict. We hope that by explaining ourselves, we can prevent misunderstandings or disagreements. But here's the truth. No matter how much you explain, some people will never agree with or understand your decisions. And that's okay. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This power includes the ability to decide what parts of your life are open to discussion and what are not. Let me share a personal story. A few years ago, I made a career change that surprised many people. I left a stable, well-paying job to pursue a passion project, something that felt deeply aligned with my values, but came with significant risk. When I announced my decision, the questions poured in. Why would you leave a stable career? What if it doesn't work out? Initially, I felt compelled to explain, to outline my plans, justify my choice, and ease their concerns. But no matter how detailed my explanations were, some people remained skeptical. One day, I decided to try something different. When someone asked, why are you doing this? I simply said, because it's what I want to do. Their reaction? A brief pause, followed by silence. They didn't have anything to argue against because I wasn't seeking their approval. The power of owning your decisions. When you stop explaining your choices, you reclaim your autonomy. You communicate, both to yourself and to others, that your life is yours to live. This doesn't mean shutting others out or refusing to engage in meaningful dialogue. Instead, it means recognizing that your worth isn't tied to anyone else's opinion. What can you gain by owning your decisions? 1. Inner peace. By letting go of the need to explain, you free yourself from the mental burden of seeking approval. 2. Confidence. Each time you assert your autonomy, you strengthen your sense of self-worth. 3. Respect. When others see that you stand firm in your choices, they're more likely to respect your boundaries. How to practice not explaining yourself. 1. Start small. Begin with everyday decisions. The next time someone asks why you made a simple choice, like skipping dessert or choosing to stay home, respond with a brief, confident answer. Because I felt like it. 2. Resist the urge to fill silence. After you've given your answer, don't rush to elaborate. Let the silence hang. Often, people will accept your answer and move on. 3. Set boundaries. If someone continues to press for details, calmly but firmly, let them know that your decision isn't up for debate. 4. Reflect on your values. Remind yourself why you made the choice in the first place. When you're clear on your own motivations, you'll feel less pressure to justify them to others. Living true to your values. At its core, this practice is about living authentically. When you align your actions with your values, you don't need external validation to feel confident in your choices. Epictetus reminds us, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. This isn't a call to seek disapproval, but a reminder that growth and authenticity often involve stepping outside of societal expectations. Think about a recent decision you made. Did you feel the need to explain or justify it to someone? How did that make you feel? Now, Consider how you might handle a similar situation differently in the future. Could you respond with a simple, confident statement and let it stand on its own? Question for reflection. When someone questions your choices, do you feel pressure to explain? How would it feel to respond with confidence and leave it at that? Remember, your life doesn't need to be a public presentation. Not every choice requires an audience vote. By practicing the art of not explaining, you reclaim your energy, your confidence, and your peace of mind. You don't owe anyone an explanation for living in alignment with your values. Your choices are valid simply because they are yours. So number 4, keeping your distance. Not everyone deserves a place in your life. Stoic philosophy teaches a profound yet simple truth. Not everyone deserves a front row seat in your life. If someone consistently disrespects you, belittles you, or drains your energy, it may be time to create some distance. This isn't about hate or resentment. It's about choosing to protect your peace and preserve your mental and emotional well-being. Epictetus said, "Keep away from anything that disturbs your soul. You owe no one your presence." This advice is a gentle reminder that your time, energy, and emotional resources are finite. By distancing yourself from those who harm you, intentionally or unintentionally, you make space for relationships that nurture, uplift, and respect you. Why distance matters. 1. Clarity through space. When you're constantly exposed to negativity, it can cloud your perspective. Taking a step back allows you to see the relationship for what it truly is, free from guilt or emotional manipulation. 2. Protecting your peace. Emotional boundaries are essential for maintaining inner balance. By limiting exposure to people who disrespect you, you safeguard your mental health and create a sanctuary for positivity. 3. Prioritizing healthy relationships. Life is short. By keeping your distance from those who deplete your energy, you make room for those who genuinely value and respect you. Seneca wrote, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve. The process is mutual, for men learn while they teach." This reminds us that relationships should be mutually enriching. If someone's presence consistently brings you down, it's not selfish to step back. It's an act of self-respect. The guilt of distancing yourself. One of the biggest barriers to creating distance is guilt. You may think, what if they feel abandoned? Or, am I being selfish? But protecting your peace is not selfish. It's necessary. Here's a perspective shift. Distancing yourself isn't about punishing the other person. It's about prioritizing your well-being. By stepping back, you're not cutting ties completely. You're simply setting boundaries to ensure that your interactions are healthier and more intentional. Imagine this. A friend or family member constantly criticizes your choices, making passive-aggressive remarks or undermining your confidence. Instead of confronting them every time or enduring their negativity, you begin to limit your interactions. You might see them less often or communicate in smaller doses. Over time, you'll notice how this space allows you to recharge and approach the relationship with more balance. When to keep your distance. 1. Repetitive disrespect. If someone consistently crosses your boundaries despite being told, it's a clear sign that distance is necessary. 2. Emotional manipulation. If you often feel drained, guilty, or anxious after interacting with someone, that relationship may be more harmful than helpful. 3. Lack of reciprocity. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect and effort. If you're the only one investing time and care, it's worth reconsidering the relationship's proximity to your life. Practical steps for creating distance. 1. Be honest with yourself. Start by acknowledging the relationships that consistently cause you stress or discomfort. Reflection is the first step toward change. 2. Limit interaction. Gradually, you don't need to make a dramatic exit. Start by reducing the frequency of contact. For example, if you see them weekly, switch to monthly. 3. Set clear boundaries. If necessary, communicate your boundaries politely but firmly. For example, I need some time to focus on myself right now. I hope you understand. 4. Focus on your growth. Use the space you've created to nurture relationships that bring joy, inspiration, and mutual respect. Marcus Aurelius advised, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." This power includes the ability to choose who occupies your mental and emotional space. When you distance yourself from negative influences, several things happen. 1. You regain your energy. Without the constant drain of disrespect, you'll find yourself with more energy to devote to the things and people that truly matter. 2. You see relationships clearly. Space provides perspective. You might come to understand why a relationship became toxic or recognize patterns you hadn't seen before. 3. You attract respectful relationships. By prioritizing your peace, you set a standard for how others should treat you. This often leads to healthier, more fulfilling connections. Years ago, I had a friend who always seemed to have a critical remark ready. No matter what I did, whether it was a career decision or even the way I spent my weekends, they found a way to diminish it. At first, I brushed it off as just their way, but over time, those comments began to weigh on me. One day, I decided to take a step back. I didn't make a big announcement or end the friendship outright. I simply started seeing them less often and redirecting my energy toward people who uplifted me. The result? I felt lighter, happier, and more confident in my choices. That space gave me the clarity to see that the friendship wasn't as balanced as I thought. It wasn't about cutting ties completely. It was about prioritizing the relationships that truly mattered. Think about the people in your life. Is there someone whose presence feels more draining than uplifting? How might your life change if you created just a little more distance? Question for reflection. Who in your life consistently crosses your boundaries or disrespects you? How can you create space in a way that feels empowering, not guilt-inducing? A reminder from Stoicism. Not everyone is meant to stay in your inner circle. By keeping your distance from those who don't respect you, you're not only protecting your peace, but also making room for healthier, more meaningful relationships. As Epictetus said, the soul should never be forced to endure the presence of those who harm it. Protect your peace. Prioritize your well-being, and remember, your time and energy are precious. Spend them wisely. So number 5, hold your head high. Confidence in your own worth. Finally, always remember to hold your head high. In life, there will always be people who try to make you feel small through criticism, dismissive comments, or subtle insults. But Stoic philosophy teaches us a fundamental truth. Your worth doesn't come from others, it comes from within. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, do not allow the actions of others to rob you of your dignity. When you walk into a room with your shoulders back and your head held high, you're sending a silent but powerful message. I know who I am, and I refuse to let anyone diminish my value. You don't need to shout or prove yourself. Your presence, confidence, and unwavering sense of self-worth do all the talking for you. Why confidence is unshakable. Confidence rooted in external validation is fragile. It wavers whenever opinions shift. But confidence grounded in your intrinsic worth is unshakable. It isn't about arrogance or superiority. It's about knowing that your value as a person is inherent, not conditional. 1. Your value is not for debate. No one else has the authority to determine your worth. You were born with dignity and value, and nothing anyone says or does can take that away. 2. Confidence disrupts. Negativity. People who thrive on disrespect often do so because they believe they have the power to make others feel small. When you remain confident, their efforts fall flat. Your refusal to shrink disarms them. 3. Confidence inspires respect. Even if someone doesn't initially respect you, your confidence will often compel them to reconsider. People are drawn to those who carry themselves with quiet assurance. Seneca observed, "A great mind becomes stronger under adversity. This means that even in the face of disrespect, your confidence can become a shield that reflects your inner strength. Holding your head high is about more than just posture. It's a mental, emotional, and spiritual practice. Here's how to make it a habit. 1. Check your physical posture. Your body reflects your inner state. Stand tall with your shoulders back and your gaze level. It may sound simple, but good posture can instantly shift your mindset. 2. Practice positive self-talk. Remind yourself daily of your strengths and accomplishments. Replace self-doubt with affirmations like, "I am enough," or "I deserve respect." 3. Set boundaries. With grace. Confidence doesn't mean being confrontational. It means knowing when and how to say no. If someone crosses a line, calmly but firmly assert your boundaries. 4. Focus on what you can control. Instead of worrying about others' opinions, channel your energy into things you can influence, your attitude, actions, and perspective. A friend once shared a story about her workplace. A colleague frequently undermined her in meetings, interrupting her and dismissing her ideas. At first, she felt defeated, questioning her competence. But one day, she decided to try something different. Instead of shrinking or becoming defensive, she walked into the next meeting with her head high and her shoulders squared. When her colleague interrupted her, she paused, smiled, and calmly continued her point without engaging in a power struggle. The result? Her confidence silenced the room. Her colleague, caught off guard, stopped interrupting her. From that day forward, she noticed a shift, not just in how others treated her, but in how she felt about herself. The connection between confidence and respect. Confidence isn't just about how you see yourself, it's about teaching others how to treat you. When you carry yourself with dignity, you set a standard for how you expect to be treated. Epictetus advised, "Remember, you are not inferior to anyone. You are equal in your ability to think, act, and choose." Even in moments of disrespect, your confidence reminds you that their words or actions say more about them than about you. Building inner confidence. True confidence doesn't come overnight. It's a practice that grows with time. Here are some strategies to cultivate it. 1. Reflect on your achievements. Make a list of challenges you've overcome and goals you've achieved. Remind yourself of your resilience and capability. 2. Surround yourself with support. Spend time with people who uplift and encourage you. Their positivity will reinforce your own sense of worth. 3. Reframe negative thoughts. Instead of dwelling on criticism, ask yourself, is this truly about me, or is it a reflection of the other person? Often, negativity has little to do with you and everything to do with their insecurities. Picture this: you're at a social gathering and someone makes a snide comment about your appearance or lifestyle. Instead of shrinking or retaliating, you smile, maintain eye contact, and carry on with your conversation. Your unbothered demeanor sends a clear message. Your opinion does not define me. This isn't about ignoring disrespect, but about choosing not to let it derail your self-assurance. Next time you feel the urge to look down or doubt yourself, take a deep breath, lift your chin, and remind yourself, I am valuable just as I am. I don't need to prove my worth to anyone. Their negativity cannot touch my confidence. What situations make you doubt your worth or confidence? How can you practice holding your head high, both physically and emotionally? Confidence doesn't mean you're immune to criticism. It means you choose not to let it define you. When you hold your head high, you honor your intrinsic worth and refuse to let anyone take that away. As Marcus Aurelius put it, stand upright, speak your truth, and let no one drag you down. Your worth isn't up for debate. Own it, live it, and always remember to walk through life with your head held high. Outro life is too short to spend on people who don't respect you. Remember, you cannot control the actions of others, but you have full control over how you respond. By practicing these Stoic principles, you can find peace even in the most challenging situations. Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." Final question. Which of these 5 approaches resonates with you the most? How can you apply Stoic philosophy to improve your relationships today? Share your answers in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your loved ones. See you in the next video where we'll continue exploring these life-changing ideas.